True belief in Allah means trust, even when you don't understand the plan. Many times in life, things don't go the way we expect. We plan, we prepare, we dream, and suddenly everything changes. You lose something you thought you could never live without, or you face a door that just won't open no matter how hard you knock. In that moment, the heart begins to question, why? But when belief is firm, you remind yourself that Allah knows what you do not know. You remind yourself that your plan is limited to what you see, but Allah's plan is built upon what He sees, the past, the present, and the future. And because of that, His plan will always be better for you, even if you cannot see it right now. When you truly trust Allah, you stop measuring His wisdom by your emotions. You understand that just because something feels painful does not mean it's bad for you. Sometimes the road that hurts you the most takes you exactly where you need to be. Faith means you walk through the storm knowing that the one who sent the rain will also bring the rainbow. It means you keep moving forward when the answers aren't clear because you know that Allah's timing is perfect. You don't rush what He has delayed and you don't chase what He has taken away. You learn to say, if Allah chose this for me, then there must be goodness in it, even if your eyes can't yet see that goodness. Trust in Allah is not passive. It's not sitting back and doing nothing. It's about doing your part, making effort, using your mind, praying sincerely, and then leaving the results to Allah with a heart at peace. You work hard, but you don't tie your happiness to the outcome because success is not about getting what you want. It's about being content with what Allah chooses for you. When you believe in His wisdom, you realize that the delay is not denial, it's preparation. Allah delays certain things because He wants to strengthen you first. He wants to teach you patience, humility, and gratitude. So when the blessing comes, you value it, protect it, and use it correctly. There are times when Allah will test your trust by taking away what you love most, not to break you, but to bring you closer to Him. When everything else fails, that's when you learn that Allah is truly enough. People will disappoint you, the world will change, but Allah never leaves your side. Firm belief means that you stop depending on people for what only Allah can give. You don't seek peace from others, you seek it from the one who created peace itself. And once that trust settles deep in your heart, you stop fearing the future because you know your future is already written by the one who loves you most. Sometimes you'll find yourself in a place where nothing makes sense. You'll pray, you'll cry, and you'll wonder if Allah is listening. But even in that silence, He is closer than your own heartbeat. He hears every whisper, sees every tear, and knows every struggle. When your faith is strong, you realize that unanswered prayers are not ignored. They're redirected. Allah gives you what you would ask for if you knew what He knows. So even when you don't understand the plan, you trust the planner, you hold on, you stay patient, and you keep believing that every single thing happening in your life is shaping you into the person Allah wants you to become. True belief turns pain into purpose. It transforms fear into calm. It teaches you that nothing is random, nothing is wasted. Every experience, whether joyful or painful, carries a message from Allah, sometimes to test you, sometimes to purify you, and sometimes simply to remind you of His power. The believer knows that even in the deepest darkness, Allah's light is still guiding the way. That's the kind of trust that brings peace, the peace that only comes from knowing that your life is in the hands of the one who never makes a mistake. Firm faith removes fear of people and replaces it with hope in Allah. When a person's heart is connected to their Creator, they no longer live for the approval of others. They don't allow the opinions, judgments, or expectations of people to control their emotions or decisions. Fear of people comes from forgetting who truly holds power. When you think others can harm or benefit you independently, your heart begins to tremble before them. But when you realize that no one can touch you, no one can harm you, and no one can give you anything except by Allah's permission, that fear disappears. The believer walks through life with dignity, knowing that the only one worth fearing is Allah, and that fear is not a fear of panic, it's a fear of respect, love, and awe for the one who created everything. The moment faith settles in your heart, you stop seeking validation from people who can never satisfy your soul. You no longer need to impress the world because you are already seen by Allah. You no longer worry about who likes you or who doesn't because you know that hearts are in Allah's control. Firm faith liberates you from the chains of people's opinions. It teaches you that what truly matters is not how people perceive you, but how Allah views you. When you act to please Him, He will make people's hearts incline toward you in ways you could never plan. The believer understands that honor and respect come only from Allah, not from status, wealth, or popularity. When fear of people controls you, you begin to compromise your values. You hesitate to do what is right because you are worried about what others will say. But when faith is strong, you stand firm even if you stand alone. You understand that pleasing Allah sometimes means displeasing others, and when you choose Allah over people, Allah will protect you from the harm of people. This is the strength that comes with firm faith, a quiet confidence that you don't need to explain yourself to the world, because the one who knows your intentions already understands. The believer learns to move with humility, but also with courage, never fearing rejection or criticism, because they know their worth is defined by Allah, not by creation. Hope in Allah replaces that fear completely. Instead of worrying about how people will treat you, you focus on how Allah will reward you. When you trust His mercy, you find peace even when people turn away from you. When you rely on His promise, you remain calm even when others doubt you. Hope in Allah means that you always look forward, never backward, because you know that no situation is permanent and no difficulty lasts forever. You remind yourself that as long as Allah is with you, it doesn't matter who is against you. This hope gives you strength in weakness, patience in trials, and gratitude in ease. Faith turns your focus from the creation to the Creator. When you believe that every person you meet, every challenge you face, and every situation you experience is placed there by Allah for a reason, you stop fearing outcomes. You start to see everything as a lesson, a test, or a sign of His mercy. Even when people wrong you, you don't hold hatred because you know that Allah is the ultimate judge. Even when people disappoint you, you don't lose heart because your hope was never in them to begin with. The believer keeps moving forward, trusting that every loss, every betrayal, and every insult is a way for Allah to elevate them. Firm belief gives your heart a unique kind of calmness, a calmness that comes from knowing you answer to only one. You stop living for the applause of people and start living for the acceptance of Allah. You don't compete for attention, you compete for His pleasure. You stop fearing the loss of relationships because you know that the one who takes something away always replaces it with something better. Hope in Allah transforms your entire outlook. It makes you gentle with people, patient with pain, and strong in faith. Fear of people divides the heart, but hope in Allah unites it and fills it with peace. Tawakkul, or reliance on Allah, is not weakness, it is power through surrender. Many people misunderstand reliance, thinking it means doing nothing and waiting for miracles to happen. But true tawakkul is a balance between effort and trust. It is working with all your ability, doing what is in your control, and then leaving the rest to Allah with a heart that is calm. The believer understands that success is not about controlling every outcome. It is about doing your best and accepting whatever Allah decrees. When you rely on Allah, you stop being anxious about what is beyond your reach. You realize that control is an illusion, and peace begins the moment you hand over your worries to the one who never fails. Tawakkul gives you strength when everything around you feels uncertain. You might plan something with all your heart and see it crumble in front of you, but a person with reliance does not fall apart. They know that Allah's plan is always better, even if it is different from their own. They pick themselves up, make dua, and keep going with faith that something greater is waiting ahead. This reliance does not make them passive, it makes them resilient. They understand that relying on Allah is not about sitting back. It's about walking forward, knowing that Allah's help will meet them on the journey. When your heart truly relies on Allah, you stop fearing loss. You know that whatever leaves your life was never meant to stay, and whatever stays was written for you long before you were born. This belief brings a deep sense of peace. You stop chasing after what was never meant for you, and you start trusting that what is written for you will find its way to you at the perfect time. Tawakkul teaches you patience without frustration and effort without pride. You do what is necessary, but you never attribute success to yourself. You say it was Allah who made it possible. That humility is the essence of true faith. Reliance on Allah gives courage to the heart. When others hesitate out of fear, the believer moves forward with conviction, knowing that Allah is with them. You might stand in front of a mountain that seems impossible to climb, but with reliance, you start the climb anyway, because you know that your strength comes from the one who created that mountain. You trust that every step you take will either lead you to success or teach you a lesson you needed to learn. The person who relies on Allah is never truly disappointed, because even when things don't go as planned, they know Allah's wisdom is working behind the scenes. Tawakkul is not about closing your eyes and ignoring reality. It is about opening your heart to see the truth behind every reality, that Allah is the one controlling every situation. You might not understand the purpose of a delay, a hardship, or a failure, but tawakkul allows you to rest in the knowledge that there is a divine reason for everything. It turns anxiety into calmness and confusion into clarity. It teaches you to stop questioning every event and start seeing it as part of a greater design. The believer who relies on Allah walks with a heart free from constant worry, because they know that whatever is written for them will reach them, even if the whole world tries to stop it. When you place your full trust in Allah, you stop depending on people to fix your life. You realize that help, comfort, and solutions come only from Him. People are means, but Allah is the source. You don't panic when plans fall apart, because your trust was never in the plan. It was in the one who makes the plan succeed. You understand that every door that closes is leading you toward a better one. Tawakkul turns every difficulty into a moment of closeness with Allah, because it reminds you that your efforts are limited, but His power is limitless. Reliance on Allah is not giving up, it is standing firm, doing your best, and believing that whatever comes next is exactly what you need. Every hardship is a hidden blessing from the most merciful. At first glance, pain and difficulty seem like something to escape, something to wish away. But a believer who understands the wisdom of Allah begins to see beyond the surface. They realize that within every struggle lies a lesson, a mercy, a reminder, or a doorway to something greater. Hardships are not punishments. They are part of Allah's divine training. They polish the heart, purify the soul, and bring the servant closer to the Creator. Without trials, a person would never truly know patience, humility, or gratitude. It is through pain that the believer discovers strength they never knew they had and experiences the sweetness of turning back to Allah. When life becomes heavy and the road feels long, the believer remembers that Allah never burdens a soul more than it can bear. Every challenge comes with a portion of strength placed inside you to face it. Sometimes Allah takes away comfort to wake your heart from heedlessness. Sometimes He closes doors to redirect you towards something better. Sometimes He delays your plans to protect you from harm you cannot yet see. What appears as a setback is often a step forward in disguise. But the mind can only see that when the heart is connected to Allah. Without faith, hardship looks like destruction. With faith, it looks like transformation. Every test has a purpose. There is no random pain in the life of a believer. When you face loss, you learn detachment from this temporary world. When you face betrayal, you learn that reliance belongs only to Allah. When you face failure, you learn humility and perseverance. Each trial carries a message from your Lord, calling you to reflect, repent, and rise. The greatest growth in a person's faith often comes from moments of brokenness, when they realize that no one can heal them except Allah. Those tears you shed in the quiet of the night are not unseen. They are witnessed by the one who promises that with hardship comes ease, not after it, but with it. Hardship teaches gratitude in ways comfort never can. When life is smooth, the heart tends to forget the giver and becomes attached to the gifts. But when hardship arrives, it reminds you who is truly in control. It brings you back to prayer, back to sincerity, back to your purpose. Through pain, Allah removes arrogance and fills the heart with compassion. You begin to look at others differently, understanding their struggles because you've walked through your own. Trials make you softer toward people, but stronger within yourself. They strip away illusion and reveal what truly matters: faith, patience, and trust. Many times we pray for ease, but Allah sends a test instead. It's not rejection, it's redirection. Ease might make you forget Him, while hardship makes you call upon Him. When you are on your knees in desperation, crying out to Allah, that is not a moment of weakness, that is the moment of your greatest strength, because that is when your heart is closest to its Creator. Hardship brings sincerity to dua. It removes distractions and brings focus. It teaches that nothing in this world is guaranteed, not wealth, not health, not people. And so you learn to attach your heart only to the one who never leaves. A hidden blessing is called hidden for a reason. It's not visible when the pain is fresh. You might not understand why something happened, but later you look back and realize that what broke you also built you. What hurt you also healed you. The blessing was there all along, disguised as difficulty. That's the mercy of Allah. He tests the ones He loves, not to destroy them, but to raise them in rank, to purify them, and to bring them closer to paradise. Through every hardship, He is shaping you, guiding you, and preparing you for something better. Every tear, every loss, every disappointment carries divine wisdom, and when you endure it with patience, your soul grows in ways comfort could never achieve. Faith is not just in words. It is in how you live and respond to life's tests. Many people say they believe, but true belief is shown through action, through consistency, and through the choices you make when no one is watching. Words are easy to speak, but faith is proven in the moments when you are tested. When everything is going well, belief feels light and comfortable, but when the storm comes, that is when the reality of faith appears. A person with true belief in Allah remains steady even when life shakes them. They know that their response in hardship defines their relationship with Allah more than their words ever could. Faith is not about perfection, it is about sincerity and effort. It is about striving to please Allah despite your struggles, your weaknesses, and your mistakes. True faith changes your behavior. It transforms your heart, your speech, and your attitude. It makes you kinder, more patient, more forgiving. When your faith is real, you stop reacting out of anger and start responding with wisdom. You stop chasing worldly approval and start seeking divine pleasure. The believer is not perfect, but their heart is always turning back to Allah. When they sin, they feel remorse, they seek forgiveness, and they try again. When they succeed, they thank Allah and stay humble. When they fail, they trust Allah's wisdom and remain hopeful. Every step, every decision, every reaction reflects the condition of the heart. A faithful heart does not stay stagnant. It keeps growing and renewing itself through prayer, reflection, and remembrance. Faith is shown in patience during trials. It's easy to say you trust Allah when life is smooth, but real trust is tested when things fall apart. When a believer loses something or faces pain, their faith is measured in how they respond. Do they complain endlessly, or do they turn to prayer? Do they panic, or do they remember that Allah is in control? The believer who truly believes does not let difficulty break them. Instead, they let it bring them closer to Allah. They continue to pray even when their heart feels heavy. They continue to smile even when they are hurting, because they know that every hardship is temporary and that Allah's promise of ease is certain. Faith gives them the strength to rise after every fall. Actions reveal the depth of faith. You can claim to have belief, but if your actions contradict your words, your faith becomes hollow. True believers are recognized not by what they say, but by how they live. They are honest in their dealings, trustworthy in their words, and sincere in their worship. They forgive when they have the power to take revenge. They give even when they have little. They remain humble even when Allah elevates them. This is the reflection of real faith. It shapes every part of your life, from how you speak to how you treat people. Faith is not limited to prayer mats. It extends into how you conduct business, how you handle anger, and how you deal with others when no one is watching. Faith teaches you to see the world differently. It changes the way you look at success and failure. Success is no longer about wealth or status. It's about earning Allah's pleasure. Failure is no longer a loss. It's a lesson meant to bring you closer to your purpose. The believer learns to align every action with the consciousness that Allah is watching. This awareness brings peace to the heart and direction to the soul. Every moment becomes an opportunity to worship, whether through kindness, patience, or gratitude. When faith truly lives in your heart, it becomes your guide in every decision. It makes you strong in the face of temptation, humble in success, and calm in chaos. You stop reacting out of emotion and start responding with faith. You measure every step by whether it pleases Allah or not. You no longer seek perfection in the world because you understand perfection belongs only to Allah. The believer strives to live by faith, not just speak it. Their life becomes a reflection of their belief, a life of sincerity, purpose, and quiet strength that inspires others to believe as well.